So here we are in the video where I'm going to show you how to finish off your thread. Again, you need to find where the loop is coming out. And you need to find the last loop you put on. This is not an exact science, but this is a helpful sort of indication of a way you might want to do it. The basic principle is you've got to move your thread up and down the beads at least 3 times, and in the process of doing that you need to add 3 knots. What I'm going to do is put the knots at the end of the seed beads, because as you've probably noticed already, you have to go through the spine beads quite frequently, so you need not to block them up with your thread. So we're going to go down the last loop, and then we're going to make a knot. Now, as I've been uploading to YouTube, it's massively reduced the quality of the picture, so I'm hoping you can see that, you'll be able to see this on the video. So what you've got to do is you've got to put your needle under the thread that's already gone through. Let's have a look. That's already gone through the spine beads. Already gone through all the beads you've just passed through for the second time. So you put your needle under that, you draw your thread through, and that creates a little loop. You need to put your needle through that loop and pull it up tight. And that is a half hitch knot. So we've been down in this direction. So now I'm going to go back in the spine, right next to where the first thread came out. I'm going to travel up five seed beads, to the top of the second loop. As you travel through a loop for the second time, you'll notice that it tightens up any loose loops. If you are finding you're having any loose loops, we'll be sorting that out at the end. So at the top of the second loop down, you're going to go through all the beads again, making sure, as you did with the spine beads, that you don't miss any of the beads out. And we're going to make another half hitch knot. So pick up the first thread that you went through the beads with, make a little loop, put your needle through the loop and pull it tight. You'll notice while I'm doing this, I'm putting my thumb over all the beads, and that helps the knot stay in the right place and avoids the thread catching on any of the beads. So we've been down once, up once, and down again. So we're going to go up again, where your first thread comes out of the spine, go back into the spine and go up 5 seed beads, spine beads. So here we go, and your loop will pull tight. And now you should be at the top of your third loop down. Now we are at the top of our third loop down, but it's one loop over from where we've come out of the spine. So it's an easy problem to overcome. All you have to do is slip your needle between the loop and the spine and pull it through, and you're through to the place next to the third loop down. Obviously, if you just tried to pull the thread over and through to the third loop down, you'd capture the loop that was next to it under your thread, and that would spoil the shape of your loop. So, as you probably guessed, what we're going to do now is go through the third loop down. I'm going through all the needles, all the beads at once. You don't have to. You can go through as many beads as you feel comfortable with. Possibly the easiest way to do it is go through one of your the sets of 3 seed beads first, then your highlight bead, and then the rest of your 3 beads. Group of 3, and another half hitch knot, picking up the thread that first went through your beads, creating a small loop, putting your needle through the loop and pulling it tight. There we go. So we've been down the first one, tied a knot, up the spine to the second one, down again, so that's 2 changes in direction, and we tied a knot and 2 knots, up again and down again with the third loop. That's 3 changes of direction and 3 knots, so we've got our bare minimum. If you see any loops close by that need tightening, you can always take the thread further down, as we've left plenty of thread on the needle. And here we go, we've got the thread coming out of the spine. That's where we go in, and just for the moment just do that many, because that's the bare minimum, and take the thread down the spine. Always when you finished a knot, your final knot, you need to take the thread down the spine or up the spine, whichever has most room on it. And in that way you won't be cutting your thread close to the knot. If you cut your thread close to the knot, then the knot's likely to unravel. When you've gone down at least 3 loops and tied at least 3 knots, all you have to do then to finish, not cutting close to a knot, but a few beads down the spine, 4 or 5 is a good idea. Just take your scissors and cut close to the thread. And there you go. there's your thread finished off. In the next video, because we'll have to re-thread a needle anyway, and as we've indicated before, we don't really don't want to do that unnecessarily. So in the next video, we're going to thread the tail thread coming out near your fastener bead and go through the fastener bead end of the bracelet one more time to make sure it's secure and finish off the tail thread.